More charges have been laid in York Region as part of an ongoing COVID-19 enforcement blitz. And joining us this afternoon with an update is Vaughan Mayor Maurizio Bevilacqua. Mayor, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kayla. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about what we are seeing in Vaughan. I mean, of course, a big point in this story as we look at the last 24 to 48 hours has certainly been Vaughan Mills. It's certainly been a point that a lot of people flock to for Black Friday. What has been your reaction to this enforcement blitz and what you've seen so far?
I think the enforcement blitz and our education program here in York Region and City of Vaughan obviously has worked quite well. The numbers, as you pointed out earlier, in York Region are not as high as other areas throughout the GTA, which to me tells me that we're doing something right. But there are some behaviors that are quite puzzling. For example, there's been a spread in one of our sports complex where you have a group of individuals who are playing soccer.
Right.
Interesting to note. And I think this COVID-19 has many lessons for us. So these are individuals that were wearing masks when they were playing the game. But you know, the irony about the story is that when they were in the dressing room, they were not wearing masks. So you've got to wonder how people understand the importance of the mask, obviously, in reducing the transmission of COVID-19 on the soccer pitch, right? Mm-hmm. But they have a different behavior in the dressing room. And so the moral of the story here is that in our fight against COVID-19, it has to be a full-time commitment, not a part-time commitment. What you do in the dressing room and what you do in the soccer field has to have consistency of purpose. And what I mean by that is that this fight against COVID is not something that you do whenever you feel like it. It's something that is constant, and it requires discipline, it requires focus, it requires commitment. That is a very important lesson to learn from this case, where you have the same individuals understanding what COVID-19 is all about. They understand the threats of COVID-19, yet these same individuals have two different behavioral patterns in a matter, and you're talking about a matter of feet, right? So they're sitting in this dressing room without a mask, and yet when they go on the soccer pitch, they put on that mask.
Mayor, I want to get your...
Sure, go ahead.
I wanted to get your thoughts on this because, of course, in York Region, I had a chance to speak with Mayor Scarpitti of Markham not too long ago. And, you know, certainly he has said that this is not open season for people who are living in hotspots such as Toronto and Peel. But what is your take on the fact that the GTA in general is just so intertwined, and you may have people who live in Vaughan and work in Toronto or vice versa, or may have close family members that have to continuously go back and forth? What is your message when it comes to those scenarios?
My message is you have to be consistent in Toronto and Peel, in Vaughan, in York Region. You have to have the same behavior. Sometimes it's not really an issue of whether a person from Toronto is coming to shop in Vaughan. The issue is, are people, businesses, residents, people from the GTA respecting the rules and the advice of medical experts? That is really the issue. Unless we want to put up barriers between cities on, like in our case, on Highway 400, you know, that's not feasible. It's not realistic. The reality is that if we were to collectively, as a community, I mean by that the Greater Toronto Area and Hamilton area, act in a responsible manner, this would not be an issue. This would not be an issue. It's like, how do you have stores that fail to put proper signage? I mean, we've been at this for months, right? Now, having said that, I don't want to paint this dark picture that human behavior is out of whack with this reality of COVID-19, because you and I, Kayla, and we've talked about this in the past, the vast majority of individuals, citizens, and businesses do follow the rules. Mm-hmm. However, what are we talking about today? We're talking about all those individuals who are breaking the rules. But they do serve a purpose. They do serve a purpose to remind us that you have to be consistent, you have to be all in the fight against COVID-19. It is a full-time commitment, not a part-time.
Consistency certainly will be key throughout this pandemic. Vaughan Mayor Maurizio Bevilacqua, we have to leave it there. Thank you for your time, Mayor.
Thank you. Stay safe.
You too.